live on this beautiful world, but we do not live in this beautiful world. We live predominantly within an educated, inner movement of words and images. We live within a computer-like intellect. A talking voice which never stops, day and night. This is the voice of your past. The intellect, learned information, studied knowledge, and recorded experiences, all rolled into one, and heard through the voice of an identified conceptual acceptance that you are your name, and that you live silently in the shadows behind every word and image you see and hear internally. You are an image manifested. You are the word. The thinker is the thought. We live on this beautiful planet Earth in a human-based intellect which we have absolutely no understanding of the structure of, and therefore we have no understanding of the moment-by-moment inner thought-based activities we engage in, and which limit our view of life. Why is our view being limited? When one lives as an intellect, as a word and image processor within human brain cells, one denies another kind of true existence. To live in this world, one must be aware and awake to all the information arriving to one's senses. To live in the intellect of humanity needs a different process, one of spotlight concentration and machine-like repetition. This habit of habitual mental concentration on past experiences and carrying these with us into an otherwise free journey of life is educated into us all during at least 12 years of enforced, state-mandated, memory-based juvenile study. In other words, school. We live and function primarily in an educated world of projected images and words, movements of thinking, beliefs, ideologies, attachments, all accepted and recorded into our brain cells. We become things, religious, political, nationalistic, class-driven things. We seek to become the most perfect thing we can be, centered on a central image we are building from, of what we are and what we previously have been. This inner movement, this unseen, uninvestigated nature of humanity, unseen to all but humanity, is what has driven us crazy. Our inner world is limited in a way our outer universe never could be. It is limited to our past experiences. Try to think of the downtown streets of a city you have never visited, or even seen an image of. You see? You cannot ever think about what you have not ever experienced. This means the inner world we all live within is a different arrangement for each of us, as we all have different remembered past experiences, and deeply limited. Our inner world is steeped in ignorance of what we have never experienced. We number close to 8 billion people, although we are reducing in number today. And we each occupy a varying, subtle, yet definable differing inner world. Few of us are brought up sharing the exact same experiences, and so few of us are capable of having insight into another's worldview. This is why we divide. This is why we war. Beyond these conceptual, educated, and divided ways of looking at life through the past, and continually progressing that past into the future, there lies a dimension here, totally unrelated to all of this mundane inner repetition. It is found here, and only here. It is found now, and only now. It carries all beauty, love, compassion, kindness, and empathy. It is life, and it is death. For as it lives, it dies. It carries nothing forward from a past. Its living is its dying, and so it is a movement within and of complete freedom. There is nothing here to protect. There is nothing to hold on to. Life and death here are one. Fear has no place in such a movement. In contrast, the complex inner world of humanity is a movement of continuity, of repetition from a past, and building that past ever towards a more perfect and divisive future. This is little more than a mundane repetition from the past. And that which continues in continuity decays with every step of that continuity. That which grows older steps daily closer towards great sickness, and eventually to its inevitable demise. That which dies to its past experiences a rebirth. Our society can only ever experience a meaningful rebirth if our conflicted, corrupting, divisive, war-causing activities come to an end. Our society as it is needs die to allow something new to take its place. Our society is our relationship between each other. Our activities are what must come to change. And yet, this possibility seems further away today for mankind than the planet Mars some of us are aiming towards. Any investigation into healing our world will inevitably lead us to our very own front door. To every one of us. We are conflicted human beings. We are representatives of the entirety of humanity. And humanity has taken a wrong turn. It is the contention here that this wrong turn is to be found to be living in, predominantly, this inner experientially divided world of our concentrated machine-like intellect. We are living in concepts, enclosed as we are on words and images 10 meters thick, in an astounding universe of great beauty, truth, space, silence, and deep meaning. Meaning beyond any words or any images. Our biggest problem today is not to fight anymore over which kind of conflicted ideology of a future we wish to see. It is not either to seek more paper wealth to build ever-growing tax havens, as more of our poor children starve to death. It is to understand that the movements we make in our outer world existence come screaming out from our inner thinking psychological nature. Thought is the psychological movement which precedes all of our actions. Thought has built this society. Thought has brought us here. Our daily thinking is responsible. We hear our thinking daily. We can neither escape from it nor stop it. Some days it pleases. Other days it causes pain. Sometimes pleasurable, sometimes hurt, sometimes depression, others elation. We appear to be the creators of this inner conflicted world of images and words. And also, at the same time, we are the receivers of our own inner movements. Our thoughts come to bring us pleasure and pain just as easily. Our depressions come from within us, inwardly, and hurt us inwardly. Our fears do the same. Our pleasures, self-produced, remembered, self-received, and ever chased after. We are the designers and the creators of our own little metaverse. And we have little idea, truly, about how this vast inner psychological field all works, how it moves, how it all reacts and distorts and continuously changes the perception of the outer universal world, which presents itself to our senses in this very moment. We are ignorant of what we are in our inward psychological movements, as ignorant as we are to the true nature of the perceived universe all around us. Our internal structure, our sense of self, has blinded us to all else. Is it at all possible for this inner world of confusion, of educated principles of identification, patriotism, ideologies, beliefs, and attachments, all based on memory and education, to come to an end? And it must come to end. It is because this inner world is constantly functioning that we repeatedly come to war, because we are all acting in divisive, conceptually educated time. We are all seeking our own benefit only. We seek to improve gradually in time into our conceptual, self-constructed future. This is root movement within all of our consciousness. If we are ill or chronically depressed, we seek to get better in time. If we are poor or ambitiously self-driven in life, we seek ever more than we have today, moving towards a future different in nature to this day, seeking ever to become something other than what we are. What is true to our lives? Is a future which is a conceptual opposing state to what I find today a truth? Or is this now an idea I am hoping to meet at some point in any number of days to come? If I ever seek to better my existence in a psychological conceptual future, am I not denying the very action needed to better my existence in this very moment? And is now not the only time ever we can come to successfully act? Have you ever met anyone capable of such magic that they may come to act in the conceptual thought processes of a conceptual future, or in the now dead and over defunct past? We never question, because we have been deeply trained to accept the understanding of another. And this makes discovery rather difficult for us indeed. How can anyone come to any understanding of their lives if they insist on looking through knowledge which they have already accepted from another? How can one come to find religion, a quality of unity to this present moment, a meeting of the creation of life, found only in this present moment? Where else would you expect to find creation? In a dead past or a future not yet here? Creation carries love as its sister, and so we have no love in this world as we live for our future conceived glory, or our future when we shall become much more successful, better in some way, improved, spiritual, or resolved. Yet this movement into a future denies any existence in this present moment. And so we have come to lose all relationship to each other, and all love, all empathy, all compassion, all care. The only thing we care about today is our future. Love is not held within our minds. Love comes to us from creation. And this creation is only ever found when the human mind is completely silent. Because the past and the present movement of all life cannot coexist. The human mind can change. And if the human mind can change, our world can change. Our psychological state as it is as dire and bleak as the wrong turn humanity has so obviously taken. The wrong turn of developing a divisive psychological inner nature of self, seeking security based on past learned experiences. Yet there may be a way out, and yet the way out may not be a way out at all. It may be more a way in than a way out. The word way is no real fit here. There is no path. This journey is to where you are. Only you must change to arrive here, for you live somewhere else. You must become the hope you wish to find. You will find nothing of value in this life unless you yourself become the value. You will find nothing new unless you become the new. You will find nothing good unless you are the good. You will find nothing holy in life unless you are the holy. We are this world, and this outer society of chaos is only a deep reflection of our inner psychological movements of the very same chaos. The same demonic, time-based approach to life we all share inwardly. Me first, isolated, non-understanding of life, divisive, fearful, lust-ridden. Me. Before you. Competitive, lonely, ambitious, power-hungry. This mind cannot come to meet love. It must end first. If we are to demand a better world, we must demand to revolutionise our psychological state into a better mind. A new mind will build a new world. What else could? We have no need to seek to bring back better. be more productive, arrive to a problem-solving brain. We have no need either to alter our environment into a different state of becoming. No need at all. We have no need for any outer action. In fact, any outer action will be divisive, as we can see it always is and always has been, and so totally unproductive and further problem-creating than problem-solving. Because we act from limited thinking, and so we act in a huge dark shadow of ignorance. We need only end these chaotic inner movements. I say only, although this is unlikely to be an only. This is more likely to be a very difficult task. So may these words come to fall on the members of this human race, this broken human race, who feel the heartbeat of a warrior within. This is uncharted territory. For the brain looks at itself through its own memory of itself, which is the past, the thinker of its thoughts. This is an arbitrary, conceptual, educated, divisive arrangement, rather than being anything based in any fact. All thinking has one source, which is itself. There is no controlling or contributing thinker out with of an accepted universal and historical insistence that there is. Watching thought is arduous activity, but incredibly freeing if you can find interest in this art and an awakening to the understanding of the need to engage within it. The need is our desperately, dangerously divided world, driven here as we have been by the divisive thinking and desires of men who understand nothing of the ways of their minds, nor of life. This will be found to be all of us, so no stones. No stones. No stones. One must come to see that the thinker and the thought are one unitary movement. This factual awareness has the only potential to remove the brain from its fascination of ever growing the stature of its psychological sense of divisive continuity within a conceptual self in time, which is the movement of human ego, a ghost within the brain, a nefarious host which divides us all and brings true evil to our world. The only evil. This is the very root of all of our personal and global problems. The story of Christ's crucifixion may, in truth, be being falsely represented today. There is evidence that Jesus did exist, but there is little evidence indeed that he was ever crucified. It is unlikely also that Jesus rose from the dead. In any case, no one can prove this. So any message relayed in this story is honestly open to certain interpretation, unless one insists on bias, and most of us do. But the story does make great sense in another way of looking at it. a different understanding comes to light. Christ was mocked, flogged, beaten, stabbed, and ultimately crucified. He died and was resurrected to enter heaven, to find his place in the kingdom, where he and his Father are one. One is undivided. The movement of our thinking is the movement of all divisions, inner and therefore outer. The outer comes from the inner, and the inner acts on the outer. The two movements, as also the thinker and thought, are in truth one. We are the movement of the society we need to so desperately change. And so the responsibility for such change is nowhere other than at our feet. The inner nature of mankind is a place of hurt, pain, and repetitive suffering. And so is the outer structure of our society. A place of deep pains, unseen shadows, a dangerous place. This is not personal, but rather a shared connection and quality across the whole of our race and the whole of our historical time. This is the very place from which every concept we have of time comes to grow. As the story of Christ portrays, might you come to pick up your cross? Might you come to enter freely into the inward pain and suffering and confusions of the human mind? Can you carry your cross, your burden from the past, which weighs down your present day? Can you carry it far until you are released from this burden in the inevitable understanding of its movements, and so come to find a phoenix-like movement arising from the ashes of these olden ways? Might you take the floggings and the beatings, face the inner wounds of time, arising from long forgotten hurts and incidents, and sorrows deeper than run through the veins of your life? Can you face the storms of your inner nature in order to move through and journey beyond them? Can you come to find the silence and intelligence, the beauty, the love, the life and the death ever present to any man finding true life? Ultimately, can you negate the total inner workings of your inner self through complete non-psychological action? Can you watch and cease to act against what you see? that you may come to end this divisive manner of educated and traditional destructive divisive conceptual living? Can you die on your own inner cross of self-pursuit, understanding and ending, that you may come to find a rebirth, to meet the throne of this present moment of creation in this ever-living and ever-loving universe, free at last from all inner bias and prejudice, attachments, fears and desires, from all time-based recorded elements which contaminate an otherwise crystal clear view of a wonderfully gifted life. Can you enter heaven at last, leaving behind your past and your future, leaving your very self? Can you free the mind of humanity from all associated worries, fears, hurts, pains and regrets? And can you come to meet the beauty, depth, silence and creation of this living present moment? Unless a man be born again, he cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. And it is easier for a camel to walk through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to enter this place. For a man who has not died to his inner nature of corruption can never come to meet truth. How can that which is not true, which is entirely conceptual in nature, ever come to meet that which is manifest, true, and a movement of creation itself? And all rich men are glued to their conceptual future ideology of building from their pasts and becoming into a future, of owning the entire world. Of such men, I ask you, what use is it to own the entire world if you have come to lose your soul? Your soul is here and now and waiting for you. But you must leave your past and your future you build into to enter this doorway. You can no longer travel ever with self-interested purpose for personal enrichment anymore. How many rich men are willing to give up their wealth to find that which is true in life? A rich man will come to find this most difficult of all. For to perceive the depths of the illusion of living for a conceptual time other than now, for a rich man's mind, is to deny the greatest personal benefit he finds in living in this corrupted way. Inner self, my image of what I am, becomes the most important. And self is ever an inner movement of time, which denies access to the movement where life and heaven are found. Our minds have become mechanical and divorced from life. Finding sustenance for life in an inner concept of a time not yet here, or in a past dead and gone, prevents any ability we may hold to see what is here, what is now, which is us, our planet, and everything going wrong. And we all live this way. We look on this as our order. What a joke! But we best not wait for our rich and entitled to lead us out of here, for their minds are functioning like ours. They have led us here. We must learn, as Christ stated quite clearly, what it means to die. Not to commit suicide, but is it possible for this inner talking self not to present and corrupt our lives? Can we enter a dimension of relationship with this moment and this universe and with each other, removed from past prejudices, learned bias, divisions, attachments, fears, past experiences, lusts and desires, which we all carry and which come to divide us and lead us eternally into war? If we can, we will come to begin to live in the very same place together. In this world. In the same world. For the first time. On the world. But also in it. In the heaven Christ spoke of. For we will have died to that which came before. And we must die to that which came before. For if we do not, we are only involved in its continuity. And we are this today, all of us. For we do live this way. Forever caught in chattering memory, seeking to resolve our problems, remembered from the past, into a future conceptual state which has never even existed. Will you climb your mountain? Will you come to find what it means to totally negate this conceptual sense of educated inner self, which is time? Only then will we begin to build a holy, loving, just, and peaceful world. A world of understanding rather than a world of dictating. One brain at a time. As fast or as slowly as it takes. Seek no result other than to investigate and to understand, and so come to bring conflict to an end. The reward of this will be found in the action itself. There is nothing to aim towards. What you look at with interest, you will begin to understand. And so the brain can come to understand its own movements by and for itself. We remove the need for leaders. Following another, any other, even Christ himself, is a corruption to your life. How can another man lead you towards your psychological revolution? The change we all need so desperately in this brutal functioning world will be a change which comes through each one of us. It will be us, or it will never be found at all. this corrupted world will find the love it so needs to heal when our very minds become that love. When our minds are healed, there is no other way. There is no other place. And there is no other time than now.